And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Conversations Live in Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. For our radio audience here in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com, we're glad that you all can be with us. Also, as joining us, our online affiliates, we appreciate you all being with us as well. I have a true legend that's joining us today. Maurette Brown Clark is making her first appearance here on Conversations Live to talk about her remarkable career, but also her powerful new project called He Loves Me. We also will let you all know how to stay connected with her. Maurette, thank you again for the time. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Well, as I was mentioning to you before we went on here, I was introduced to you over a decade ago, but you have been giving music lovers, but I think individuals looking for that inspiration and hope, giving them messages throughout the years. What has it been like for you to see the response that He Loves Me?
You know, I'm very blessed. It's like you have a vision, you have a dream, to see that dream come to fruition and then to release it into the world, hoping that it will resonate with people, because that's the reason why we do this. And so when you start to see that response, when you start to get that feedback back, it is awesome, scary and awesome at the same time.
Yeah. I was listening to the new album, and the thing that struck me though, Maurette, about your music just over the years is how much it touches you here. And I think, and what I love about it is it reminds you of exactly what the title says, of God's love. How important has that been for you to be able to share that in each and every song?
So I think we are all mere mortals, right? But
Yeah.
we serve a risen Savior. We serve a wonderful God, a righteous God, a holy God. And so for me to know that God would see something in me, to use me to tell somebody else about him, to tell about his love, his kindness, his forgiveness. And I think that's where it comes in. We think that we've messed up so bad. We do say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, hang with the wrong people enough that God just puts us to the side and forgets about us. And that's not true. And oftentimes we'll carry that load and we'll beat ourselves up. And I've done it. I've lived this. I've walked this. And if you catch me on a bad day, I probably will do it again. But I had to remind myself that no matter what, that God loves me. He loves me through my mistakes, my good days, my bad days, my off days. He loves me. And so that's the message that I wanted to tell people. Don't beat yourself up. Get yourself up and charge forward into that love, charge forward into that light, charge forward into that joy, and your life will never be the same.
Maurette, to that point, one of the songs you've been using to share, and I love the way you're using Instagram and connecting with
Thank you.
your fans there.
I've come a long way.
Hey, look, I think we all have. Look, I think we've all been forced to come a long way to keep up. But I wanted to bring up the single "I See Good" because I love the way you've been using that song and sharing the album, sharing the music. And again, another reminder of what the world will try to tell us and what God looks for. Talk to us about what that's been like for you personally, to know that God sees the good in you and he appreciates the good in you.
You know, I'm grateful. Anthony Brown of Anthony Brown and Group Therapy, he writes my heart, and he knows that beyond me wanting success for myself, I want other people to be so successful. I want to speak life. I want to encourage you. I want to be that friend that's like, yup, you can do it. And so he wrote that song for me, knowing that that's my personality, and also knowing that that's what God sees in us. He sees good. Even on our worst days, he sees, he knows the end of a thing. So he knows that all things work together for good. And so for me to be able to remind people of that, to see people like nod in their heads, I tell people my music is like a slow grind. It's like you hear it and you're like, that's nice. Then you hear it again, you're like, oh, that's cool. And then you hear it again, you're like, wait a minute, she's talking to me. And that it starts to become people's life music, I like to say, becomes their charge for the day. And they begin to say, every time I look your way, I see good. Yeah, I do see good.
Yeah. I was saying to Maurette before we went on here, I was introduced to her music through my grandmother and the song "It Ain't Over." Now, over a decade ago, Maurette still speaks so much to people. I went back and watched that video as I was prepping for your segment.
Oh, wow.
And I was looking at the signs that the people were holding up. And of course, at the end, the man holding the sign for faith. Talk to us about what that's been like for you to have music that has really gotten people through over the decades, from the messages, but also the way you've been able to speak in those songs.
You know, I think I asked God to, if it was something that I was supposed to sing, to give me what it was I was supposed to sing. And then he has done that. I asked him for longevity, and he has done that. So for a song that you heard 10 years ago from your grandmother, that's a song that you can still pull out and use when you hit those diverse situations, those adverse situations. And you can say, no, it ain't over until God says it's over. To be able to make music that speaks to young people and middle-aged people and older people, and to know that they're pulling these messages out. It is something that I prayed for. It is something that I hoped for. And it is literally something that I see God doing day after day after day. I can't tell you what that means to me. I haven't made a lot of music in these years that I've been doing it, but the music that I've made has been impactful and has lasted, stood the test of time. And that right there, I am gloriously thankful for. I
Yeah.
am.
And I think people will look at "He Loves Me" the same way, Maurette. I think that
Yay.
this music, it is needed, right?
Yeah.
It ain't over is needed.
Yeah.
That is something that people need, because unfortunately the world will try to take us this way and that way, and to
Mhm.
remind us of, that we were created for something better than what we see,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Better than what we're going through. It's such a
Yes.
big thing. I can't let you leave here without talking about social media. I mentioned Instagram because I love the way you go live on there, you talk to your audience. What
Yeah.
has it been like for you to be literally opened up to a new world online, and to see that response coming in from all corners of the world?
So I'm always afraid, right? I'm always like, I'm posting something. I'm like, all right, hopefully everybody like it. Then it'll be like, 100, 200, 300. But what I've learned with social media is that I have a friend that says, girl, go out there and round up your church, right? So Maurette Brown Clark may not be for everybody. Maurette Brown Clark may just be for those people who need her in that moment or need her for her lifetime. And what social media does, it allows me to reach people that I would never ordinarily be able to meet. And it answers that prayer that I asked God for too. That was to take my music, my message further than I can physically take it. So to know that we have this tool that, if used correctly, if used properly, can take
Yes.
our music to the nations, can take our faces, our love, our just our hearts to the nations. I was slow. I'm telling you, I'm very like private in my personal life. My children, when they were young, they were like, nobody knows we exist. I just felt like I needed to wait till they got to be 18 and let them decide what their social media imprint was. And so
Yeah.
I've been able to kind of navigate social media. And I would encourage people to, you can be on there, just navigate it so that it suits your comfort level, but you still get the message that you want to get out.
That was a word you just shared there. I mean, we talk about on this program all the time, when
Yeah.
used responsibly and respectfully,
Oh,
which
absolutely.
which people don't tend to do all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
But
the fingers
but
go heavy. Now,
yeah,
certainly,
but
I see
yeah,
I see stuff online. I'm like, what? But I'm not whatting. I'm not putting that in your comments. I'm not going, girl,
right.
what you have on or what you doing over there. Oh, that's no, no. I'm saying it like back in the old days. Keep
Hmm.
that stuff, your
Yeah,
opinion, and keep it moving. So I
keep it
think it's
moving.
just gotten a little bit out of hand, but I pray
Yeah.
that God will just, bring us back to ourselves.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. We, as you just said something that was so eloquent, and that is, people who are looking for the light will find it. And
Yes.
we're glad that you were there for people to look for, because I think that's what happens, unfortunately, the other way, Maurette, is that we think sometimes our message is not getting through, so we stop, but that only
Right.
gives way to more darkness. I think letting that light be out there like you are, sharing the way that you do, is definitely something people do gravitate for. And like you said, I mean, those who are looking for it will find it, and you've given us that for sure. Again,
Thank
everyone,
you.
Maurette Brown Clark has been our guest. A great conversation with you, Maurette. Congratulations again on the new project, He Loves Me. It's out now. You guys can go ahead and get it. Of course, our partner is Amazon, but you can get it through all of your streaming sites as well. Maurette, how can our audience stay connected with you?
Well, you can find me on social media. Maurette, right? Maurette B. Clark on Instagram. I kind of hang out there a lot. On Twitter, or X, formerly Twitter's Maurette B. Clark. Facebook, Maurette Brown Clark. I have a website, MauretteBrownClark.com. I will probably be the only Maurette you meet. I was in church yesterday and a gentleman came up to me and he was like, "Oh my gosh, you can sing so great. You're so anointed. Like, you really can sing good." I was like, "Thank you, sir." And I said, "Well, what's your name? You should definitely come back to the church." And he gave me his name. And I said, "Well, my name is Maurette." And he said, "Maurette?" So now if I'd have said my name was Liz, Mary, Sue, whatever, like, you know what I mean? But I know there's only about 5 of us out here in the world. So put in Maurette and you'll find me all over the internet.
There you go. We're so excited to be able to speak with you, Maurette. Thank you again for the time, and looking forward to speaking with you again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for allowing me on your platform, Cyrus. I appreciate it.
Hey, glad to do it. And we thank your audience for tuning in to Conversations Live and Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Let's go make today amazing. Take care.